What's up? You put it in the corner. What's up? You put it in the corner.
No one who is severely handicapped needs to fear that they will get paid any less. In fact, they're going to see an increase. We want them to be able to earn more money before losing their benefits. And we're hearing a lot of support in the disabilities community.
This province is the only province that is actually expanding disability supports. This province is the only province that is actually expanding disability supports.
Aish Actions Revolutionary Podcast.
Chantal and Gavin.
You have now entered the no bullshit zone.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show, to the really big show. We have a really big show for you today. I want you to pay particular attention to the blue-black screen on your left, and Chantal is going to say hello to you.
Hello.
There she is. Miss America, how's everybody doing today? 6 people in the chat. That looks pretty good. That's a hell of a good start. And it's only going to go up from here. Good things are going to start happening to us now. Anything new, Chantal?
Yes and no. Nothing that's been noted as of yet to the group, but I am following some leads regarding people and needing podiatry.
Okay.
So once I get to the bottom of that, I'll be releasing that information to the group.
Okay, fantastic. I spent all day on the phone with our illustrious ACE representatives who couldn't be more shitty and glib and really, just terrible people. And thank God I have a good community navigator. That's the one thing I can brag about. But these people at AISH, they literally couldn't give a shit about you. They turned me down for furniture and for moving. And I went to my doctor and got a letter from my doctor stating that, you know, there are reasons and I have these proclivities that will inhibit me from moving, right?
Mhm.
So then we called today, knowing that we'll probably get turned down for the furniture because they couldn't give a shit. And then she says, we sent him an email stating that he's getting that you're turned down for moving. I'm like, why the hell would I be turned down for moving? What are you talking about? And she's like, well, you know, you didn't fulfill our criteria, right? Like we were talking about yesterday, right?
Mhm.
You know, the new Dante's, you know, seven levels of Dante's Hell. And hey, Ivy, hey, Sam. Hope you guys are well. I'm just bloviating at the moment and getting this out, and then we'll move on. So yeah, so she said, well, you know, and I said, well, you wanted me to get a letter from my doctor. I got it to you. I sent it to you. And so we're good, right? And she said, well, you need a reason to move that isn't just because, you know, you want to move. Like it has to be like you're in, you know, dire need and you're in a violent situation or something like that. I'm like, well, why the fuck wouldn't you tell me that the first time?
Mhm.
So now I have to go spend money a second time to get a second doctor letter to fulfill something that you fucked up on. Like, why is that my responsibility?
Mhm.
And of course, I have no good answer for that. So now I have to fulfill those two criteria just in order to you know, potentially get moved. And so, and not only that, she was glib, she was shitty. You know, I mean, we're just dealing with terrible, terrible people. And I would have said more, but my community navigator was on the phone, and we were, you know, we're just trying to get this shit done, right? But if you know, if and when I talk to them again, I'll just tell her, look, man, you were the Nazi guard of 1939. And I hope you remember that when you go to bed at night, every night you go to bed. And if I am the reason for you walking away from your job or losing it, that'll be a good day in my life. So I just can't believe the pathetic nature. You know, Canman Dan, I don't know if you saw it, put out a post today just about how, you know, how he's getting treated online and how people are just shitting on him, from the liberal class to the UCP to everybody, right?
Mhm.
And you know, he wasn't being woe is me about it. He was actually seemed bemused by the whole thing. So I did respond to that post that he made, but you know, I mean, everybody's feeling it. You know, an event horizon is coming, Chantal.
Mhm.
A moment where we doing the work, and I don't just mean me and Chantal, I mean everybody out there that actually gives a shit about your own life, is going to be asked to motivate themselves and to move in alignment with with their beliefs, their ethos, their ideologies, and those who believe the same way. We are really coming to that day. I feel that. I really have a sense of that. And it's not going to be left up to sitting at home and eating a bag of bonbons and watching Netflix. We're going to have to get our ass on the street. We're going to have to align with people like the great people of like Canman Dan, people like this. And you know, we're going to have to take our fucking government back. It's there is no government left. There's nothing left.
Mhm.
Somebody today sent me something about the Dominion Party or something like that, a party that was formed in 2025. And they were like, hey, check this out. We should talk to them about AISH and ADAP. And so I read up for like 30 seconds on these guys. They're more fucking far left than the UCP are. All they're talking about is kicking immigrants out, you know, and they're
Mhm.
completely nationalist. And I'm like, come on, man. And then my inbox was deluged like 30 fucking times with information. I'm like, stop. This is, far be it from the UCP. Like, I'm looking for something better, not worse. And I'm smart enough to distinguish that. You should be too. Stop barraging me with bullshit. There are no good choices, ladies and gentlemen. There is just much of the same, or it's getting worse. This is why we need to rise up. This is why we need to rise up, the people. Okay. And everybody's saying hello to everybody in the chat. That's great. I'd love to know what y'all think about what I just said. I really believe it's going to be up to us.
Yeah.
And I wrote that to Dan today. I said, it's going to be the least of these that take back both their government and a shitty demos that will not act in accordance with their better nature or common sense and rationality and reasoning. It's so easy, and yet for some reason people want to complicate what is essential and simple. So yeah, I'm a little up. You could say that.
He doesn't want to.
Not that you did say it, but I am a little up.
Yeah.
And
I phoned H today on behalf of one of our community members.
Yep.
And we actually have it on recording now from one of the H, I'm going to say generalists, stating that any letter that they request from our doctors or any kind of supporting documents in order to have anything in support of what we need, they'll reimburse.
Okay, well, I hope that's true, Chantal, because I just talked to H today, and this lady was convinced that I talked to like 2 weeks ago, was convinced that I could get a furniture allowance. And everything since then has been, no, sorry, that only applies to if you're incarcerated. I'm like, okay, so what are you saying? If I kill somebody, I can get free furniture? I mean, that's quite the incentive, isn't it? I mean, so we need to, of course, we need to document, and you probably got that in some hard electronic medium, I believe, probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right. So, so good for you. That's something that could probably actually be fought in a court. Me, I didn't have that technology on me at the time. So, but once again, we have to establish this. We have to, anyway, I just got thrown off there for a second. Feel like I want to speak to the chat, but I won't. So here we are. And what do you want to talk about? I mean, was there anything else, Chantal, that came up today that
well, we ended up kind of touching on it a little bit last night after the podcast about all of the misinformation that's happening right now across the board.
Right.
I am getting so many messages, not just, questioning what everybody else is allowing to be said across all of these different groups, but they want me to basically fact check everybody where I've already done the fact checking. Right. So I know that not everybody knows how to look up questions that have already been answered in the group, or, people aren't sharing a lot of the general information, which is fine. But it's not up to me to fact check and make sure that every person that is asking information or spreading misinformation, I don't have the time, energy, or the ability to be across every group simultaneously to help everybody out. So I'm really careful about what's posted in the Alberta Disability System Breakdown group on Facebook. If you happen to find people that are really struggling and need somebody to break it down, tell them to join the group.
Right.
Because all of my comments across the other 8 pages are being removed, actively being removed. So I don't know if it's like the point of these other Facebook groups to spread the misinformation and allow people to, fall into despair. I have no idea. But our page is specifically sourced information that is broken down for the masses. Like there's no paywall for anything. There's no, 100 questions that you have to ask to join. Nothing. So people can either find their way to the information or whatever. But I'm not going to be going cross group anymore. I can't. Like absolutely cannot do it.
Right.
If
No.
we increase our numbers here, fine. People can reach out. People can ask for help. I'm all for it, but I can't be simultaneously in 6 groups at once.
Yeah. Well, you actually said a lot there. Maybe we should break that down for a minute. So the first thing, well, let's work back to front. You and I talked about this. You're getting a lot of your whatever you would call them posts taken down on other pages.
Mhm.
So do you have any understanding as to why that is? I mean, you can.
Oh, I have no idea.
Right, but you certainly
They're
know.
not sending me any messages as to we've removed this because of whatever reason. There's been nothing.
But you can acknowledge at least the fact that that they are being removed.
Yeah.
That they are up and that they're being removed, or that they never get posted.
Oh no, they go up and it's a response, and then within, I don't know, I'd say 2-3 hours, my post is removed on the same question.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can't make assumptions, I guess, but that certainly brings up questions, if even if there are no answers to that. Okay, and then you mentioned something about the misinformation, which you and I also discussed, of which there is so much misinformation on Facebook. It is disgusting, demoralizing from a sense of from a standpoint of common sense. There are people saying out there that their sons or daughters are on AISH and that it's not that bad, and that they're getting the 1940. And so because of their anecdotal evidence, if it's even true, is only anecdotal. It's only good for them. It doesn't apply to the mass of people saying, well, if you're trying to apply this across the board, you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
everybody on this thread is saying we're not getting 1940. Right? And once again, we're bickering, squabbling about this $200 when you and I just covered what might be the greatest existential threat to us, and that is the forced to work initiative of ADAP.
Yeah.
And nobody's talking about it. Nobody's talking about that.
No.
So, yeah, I mean, we need to, I don't say this because I'm biased. I say this because it's fucking true. Chantal's page, as far as I can tell, is not a place to solely go and bitch and complain and moan about your issue. We have all, of course you have the right to do that, and sometimes you need to, but there is no more informative page on that godforsaken Facebook than Chantal's. Hands down, no debate. That's where you go if you want information. So I have led people to her page, to this podcast, where I at least it doesn't seem like there's a ton of ambiguity, because Chantal and I are kind of in control of our own words, and we can back up with evidence everything we proclaim. And if it's an assumption, we let you know it's an assumption. If it's not an assumption, we have everything to back it up at the bottom of everything that we either read or we can back up because we've researched it. So, I had not an argument, and nobody's responded to my replies on any of these things, Chantal.
No.
But you know, I wrote a few back and said, look, if you're looking for good information, then check out H Action's Revolutionary Podcast or Chantal's page. Otherwise, you're probably going to end up just talking like a fucking idiot. And nobody's got time for that. People are hurting. People need good information, the right information right now. They need to be motivated. They need to be engaged. They need to be activated. They don't need to hear you giving an anecdotal fucking story when nobody even fucking knows you. So at least we're on a podcast and we have ownership of a page. So at least you know we exist, right? And at least you could question us every minute of this podcast.
Oh,
So,
like I invite people to criticize and to do their work, and you know, if I say something wrong, you know, correct it and I'll rescind it, right? But you know, whatever it is that you're coming at me with, I fact check that too to make sure that we're both not wrong.
right. Yep. So yeah, you know, little ire today. Ladies and gentlemen, give me 2 seconds. I need to get Chantal's full attention here.
Yeah. Oh. Okay. That's fine. No worries.
Sorry,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. So back to our regularly scheduled program. Yeah, you know, we're a little upset, but we're upset, you know, because of our own, you know, particular moment. And we're also upset on your behalf, just so you know that. You know, there is a reason that we're shitting on people, and they're not you. It's the apparatus, man. Like you know, when I say the government is broke, the government is broke. The NDP is broke. Liberals are broke. Where the fuck are the liberals? Who in the liberal class has come out to speak about this? Except nobody I know of. Nobody within my purview. Of course, we know what the UCP is doing. As far as I'm concerned, the NDP is going to let this slide and use it as a political talking point to get back into government.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think. Debate me. Ivy, the separatists are starting to look better. Well, there are no options, Ivy. There are no options. I mean, you're going to go from frying pan to fire. You're going to go from the first level of Dante's Inferno to the 7th. You're going to burn all the way down. That's why Chantal and I are talking. I don't want to leave you with no hope, Ivy, or anyone out there. Chantal and I, and I'm not going to, you know, I'm not going to bloviate or say what shouldn't be said, but Chantal and I continually talk about starting something. And I would love to know what you all think of that, because you're right, Ivy. Why the hell wouldn't the separatists look good? Right? I mean, why wouldn't anything better than what we have look good? But my God, you know, we don't want people falling into hell. You know, we don't want you, you know, falling off a conveyor belt, you know, off a cliff into the fucking 7 dimensions. Like we want, Chantal and I want to make our lives better and your life's better. So we're thinking about that. We are discussing that. We are trying to figure out what that looks like. I even put it to Can Man Dan today to say, hey man, we need to collectivize now. It's you know, good for you for, you know, all the work you've done and getting shit on as much as you have. But maybe you shouldn't be alone in this. Maybe we all need to collectivize and start something by genuine people that really fucking matter. And the day that we stop being genuine is the day the other genuine people kick us out of the fucking club. So I want you to know that. We've been talking about that. I'll scroll down to see if you say anything else, Ivy, after I'm finished this. Sam, I got referred to the DI Furniture Warehouse free goods program. Yeah, me too. Oh, and you say it's good, Sam. You got a mattress? I've got one coming from Sleep Country, brand new, because I was not going to get a used mattress. I mean, I didn't want to have to do a blacklight test on this fucking thing. I mean, that's just gross. So I did go to Sleep Country and I was approved there. Couch shelves, decor, Oh, a little bit of Tacora, huh? All kinds of stuff free. Yeah, so I've got a meeting with them, I believe on the 25th or 26th. Excuse me, I can't remember which, but thanks, Sam. And I'm kind of looking forward to it. Like, I mean, not like, going to MacArthur's Fine Furniture, but, I'm looking forward to seeing if they have anything that is actually reputable, doesn't stink, isn't ripped, doesn't look like a 19, like a mid-century modern piece of shit, So, yeah, like a whole moving van. God damn, Sam. And some of it was brand new. No shit, huh? Okay. That was through social work. No, I got that coming. So yeah, no. It is Facebook or people from the groups. Is it Facebook or people from the groups? Do you know what she's saying there?
No,
No.
I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Please elucidate, Sam. And thank you for that, Sam. A post that I shared was removed from another page. Nicole says, post that I've shared was removed from another page, but was flagged for AI content. Was it AI content? And why would that matter if it's correct? I mean, if it's incorrect, doesn't matter if it's AI or you. It's wrong. But if it's right, who gives a shit what the source was, right? Weird. Maybe you can expand on that, Nicole. Ivy, agreed, Chantal. Page is there. Page is the only one I follow. Wow. Laughing my ass off. Do it, Sam says. Ivy, we need you too. Well, and we need you 200. Ivy, you need us TWO, and we need you TOO. So don't forget that, man. You guys are invaluable here as we move forward. Oh, removing. Oh, so is it Facebook or people from the groups? Well, it looks like the pages are removing her content, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's whoever the moderators are across the different pages. Like I don't know if I pissed somebody off. I have no idea. I know that there's some fickle moderators out there across the various age groups, and they're all about, not sharing or spreading misinformation, but yet they're not moderating their groups like I do mine.
Yeah.
Not that it's a competition, right? And I understand that not everybody has the same ability as what I do for research and for getting information out to people, which is fine. But the information is there. And if somebody's afraid and they're in your group and you're not, giving them an information pathway that can help to make them feel better about the whole transition or about what's coming down the picket, that's a failure on the moderation.
Yep. Right. And if you haven't pissed off somebody today, I would be surprised. Number one. And number two, it's only my joy to do it to people that absolutely need it. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for my stuttering. 2 seconds.
On. Oh, you too afraid to be challenged? I would say absolutely not. I think I think we've spoken to this individual before, or at least I have. There's really nothing that we have to, prove ourselves for. He has access to the external page, and he has access to everything. So, have at it. Do your research, and if you have something to challenge, message me. We'll go there. It's all good.
Yeah.
Doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah. And I'll leave it at that for the moment. Might have to come back to that, but I'll leave it because I'm a gentleman. So let's get on to today's podcast and all the good news that we want to bring to people and challenge them with. So I don't know. Did you break down any of the notes, Chantal, at all, or?
I don't think you sent me notes for tonight, did you?
I did, yeah. Sent to you yesterday.
Okay.
Upcoming.
I've had so much going on, it's not even funny.
That's okay.
Okay, I see it now.
Okay, good. That's okay. You've been
I see
a
it now.
busy
It's
lady.
here.
Mhm.
Oh, I was up until 4:30 this morning helping somebody out of a panic attack.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Well, of course, you have to do you, and that's part of being
Mhm.
you. Um,
They're feeling much better though.
are they?
Yeah, which
Well,
is good.
that's what
That's
you
the
do.
whole point.
That's what you do. Um, okay, well, let me start. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is kind of a breakdown of what I see as, well, the actual, uh, headline, although it was kind of maybe a little misleading on Facebook or on YouTube, is really about human flourishing and how we gain that, like how we actually gain human flourishing. And some of this may sound romantic, some of it may sound like, oh, that's not possible, some of it you may not understand. But regardless of any of that, you can ask questions as I move along. And in all of the romanticism that some of this may sound like, it all comes back to a pragmatic approach. This is what Chantal and I have talked about, and this is, we wouldn't just sit around and pontificate philosophically ad nauseum. We would have to get busy on putting philosophy into a pragmatic action, and one that mets out the greatest good for the greatest amount of people. And so that's what what I've tried to lay out for today's podcast. And so stick with me. The premise of this started a few days ago when I was kind of thinking about Alaska, what it's giving to its citizens per year, the 100 fucking measly dollars that the Alberta government is giving to its people, and only as far as I'm concerned, or I know, is the adults, is adults. So only the 2 adults in a household would get this, whereas in Alaska, every member of the household gets it. If you're 3 weeks old, you get the money.
Yeah.
So, so it started there, and then it kind of evolved into something else. So just so you know how it's starting, so you have some context, okay? Is population a significant factor in why Alaska, that is 25th in oil reserves, would be able to give more money to their citizens than Alberta, the 4th largest reserves in the world? Okay? So the population argument alone doesn't fully explain the difference. And it doesn't explain it because really population isn't that big of a consideration. It's one consideration, but it's not that big. Alaska made a political decision in 1976 to create the Alaska Permanent Fund. The key feature was a portion of oil revenues was constitutionally diverted into a fund before politicians could spend it elsewhere. That money was invested for decades. Okay, so it's under what their ethos was for saving that money. Alberta never had that ethos. Okay, we had a different way of doing things. We had a different way of doing things, and and the way in which we did it was very ineffective. All right. It did not save the kind of money that has been accrued by even Alaska, which is 25th in oil reserves, and Norway, which is 15th in oil reserves. They have more money accrued and give more money back to their citizenry than the 4th largest oil reserve in the world, which is Alberta. It's not even a country, it's a province, Alberta.
Mhm.
So today, dividend checks come largely from investment returns, which is what Canada could have done and does, or Alberta, and could have done to a small amount anyway, and maybe does, but it is so minuscule that it doesn't make up any difference. Alberta did create the Alberta Heritage Fund. The same year, Alaska created its fund. But Alberta historically deposited far less of its resource revenue, and repeatedly used resource income to fund current government operations, so to fund itself, tax reductions, which really are minuscule in comparison to what you could receive from the government, rather than aggressively growing the fund. So they never grew the fund. As a matter of fact, our fund stands at $30 billion, and Norway's fund is at 1.6 to 7 trillion dollars. Okay, we have lost a lot of money with no way to know where that is, where it was spent, who it went to. None. I would say that the $200,000 Smith got, to take her plane trips and whatever else, who knows where that money came from, right? And we're talking about $200,000. We could be talking about millions or billions lost over the decades of our money, right? The absolute reason why we'd never even have to have the discussion of a transition between H and ADAP. If we had that money, we would never even have to have the conversation. So as a result, Alaska's fund is roughly 80 billion. So theirs is 80 billion, 25th in the world in oil reserves. And they have 50 more billion than we have, with under 1 million people. Alberta's Heritage Fund is larger in absolute terms. Well, the Heritage Fund isn't. That's a misnomer. Than it once was. Oh, okay, than it once was. Which means 30 billion is better than $6. Spread across about 5 million people, and was not built with the same mandatory contribution structure. So that's what that's a part of it that we're going to it's going to evolve into human flourishing, okay, into the good news. Chantal, do you want to go from the thought experiment?
Yeah, so suppose Alberta had the same population as today, 5 million, right? The same oil reserve and an Alaska-style fund built aggressively since the 1970s. Yes, dear. No, there's no school tomorrow. The what? We'll see. Sorry, my son is asking me questions. It's like, what's up, kid?
That's okay. Do you need me to take over? Are you good?
No, I should be good here.
Okay.
So an Alaska-style fund built aggressively since the 1970s. Then the question wouldn't be, why wouldn't we get dividends, right? It would be, how large would the dividends be? So many economists and policy analysts have argued that Alberta, yes, dear, I love you too, have argued that Alberta could have had a fund worth several $100 billion by now under a much more aggressive saving strategy. The exact figure is debated, but the point is that the difference is not primarily geological. It's largely about population size, how much resource revenue was saved, and whether government treated resource revenue as investment capital or annual operating income.
Okay. And let me pick up on that. So if someone says Alaska can do it because they have oil, that's somewhat incomplete, but we'll complete it as we go along. If someone says Alberta can't do it because we have too many people, that's also incomplete. Okay. Now I want to stop because I want people to understand why this conversation is as important as it is today. Number one, I mean, we could bring you, lots of, information on how many people are bitching on Facebook. We could bring you, things that don't really matter. But this is the exact hinge in which many of the austerity programs are happening in Alberta. Is for this one reason alone: the mismanagement of money. And this is your government. Okay. It just so happens that we are fortunate enough to live in Alberta, which has the 4th largest oil reserves in the world, that is capable, and uranium, is it uranium or lithium or something like that? We also have, I believe it's a huge deposit of that natural resource. So it is natural resources that create to the richness of a group of individuals, right? This could be the same, it could be said of antiquity, right? Of trade, of all of these things. We are fortunate. our government is screwing us out of every last dime, and then they're throwing us into austerity, saying they don't have the money, we have to save. And then their pundits or people, around Alberta are saying, yeah, like too many people are taking advantage of ACE, which is bullshit. Number one. Number two, pull your bootstraps up. Well, the etymology or the genesis of that term, pull your bootstraps up, was actually the opposite of what we use it for today. Just so you know, the etymology of that term came from the fact that you can't pull your feet into the air. You can't pull your boots up into the air, meaning that some things are not possible. The way we use it today is to say, you just need to try harder. But that is not the etymology of the term. The etymology is you cannot try hard enough sometimes because some things are impossible. That's where pull up your bootstraps came from. Okay, so and these people spouting that term don't even fucking know this. All right, they're just glib idiots. Once again, that spew talking points of CNN or Fox or whoever. They don't have a mind of their own. They've never looked into a thing. So the reason that we're having this conversation is because the money is there, and one of the great hinges of getting us out of austerity is the Heritage Fund, because it proves that we have the wealth. It proves that our tribe has the wealth and that it is being mismanaged by the chief, if you will. Okay? So I want people to be as interested in this as they can be. So if we wanted to answer that more completely, Alaska has fewer people and spent 50 years building a structure that automatically converted part of its oil wealth into citizen-owned investment fund. Alberta largely used its resource wealth to support government spending and lower taxes in the present rather than maximizing long-term capital accumulation. And one of the reasons that is being said is because everything else is an assumption, right? Like we can assume that a lot of that it has been basic thievery. We just can't prove that, but we can assume that that has to be part of an equation of why we've lost $2 trillion over 50 years. Okay, it has to be assumed so that you can investigate it at least. So, so although population is an actor, management style of the different funds would be primary. Yes, so the management and policy choices are the biggest problem. These are the policies that they instituted. And I'm not sure if this goes back to the originator. What's his name? Chantal? The guy who started AISH and
Jason Nixon.
no, started AISH and the Heritage Fund.
Oh, sorry, Peter Lougheed.
Peter Lougheed, right. So I don't know if this was under Peter Lougheed's management or not, but basically, the ethos surrounding how to save money and how to give money to the citizens did not seem, at least, to be a major consideration, at least for antiquity, for 2026, right? And then they all but stopped putting any money into the Heritage Fund in the 80s. Somehow we still have 30 billion. I don't know how we accomplished it. And nobody's got the answer to that, except people that won't tell you the answer. So yeah, it's the management and policy choices surrounding the funds that are the primary explanatory factor. If the question is, why does Alberta pay annual dividends while why does Alaska pay annual dividends while Alberta does not? And that's why, because we have managed so poorly the money we have, the resources we have, that we can't, well, it's not that we even can't afford it now. We have $30 billion. But your government has been so bad that the entire citizenry has lost, I did the math on it, about $380,000 each household since the 80s. $380,000 could have been accrued if people would have been given the fairness of a yearly dividend. We've lost per person, meaning that 6-month-old could have saved by now $380,000. They could have gone through college, university. They could have bought a house. Do you see the implications of this? They're not small implications. They're huge. So, population determines how many slices of the pie the pie gets cut into. Fund policy determines how big the pie becomes in the first place. Okay, so basically, we could have had a pie, like a Guinness World Record level pie, that stretches an entire football field. But instead, we got this little fucking, Marie Callender, fucking microwave pie, and we've had to split that all different ways when our pie should have been the size of a fucking football field. All right, you can think about it in those terms. The Alaska system was designed to capture a portion of resource revenue, invest it, grow it over decades, return part of its earnings directly to residents, as was and still remains Norway. Norway is still doing that, and that's why they have 1.6 trillion. So I'm going to skip a few things here. So let me go on. Chantal, if we go down to the next, if Alberta had Alaska's population, do you want to go from there? If Alberta had Alaska's population but had managed the Heritage Fund?
Find it.
It's just below 1, capture resource, 2, use much of its support, 3, save some, but historically. That's okay. I'll keep going until you catch up. If Alberta had Alaska's population, but had managed the Heritage Fund the same way it actually did, the fund would still be much smaller than Alaska-style fund relative to the wealth generated. Conversely, if Alberta had today's population, but had aggressively saved resource revenues for 50 years, it could likely support some form of citizen dividend, though the amount per person would be smaller because there are more people sharing it. Okay? But we would still be at an all-time high, i.e. Norway. Norway has more people than Alberta. More people. They have 5 million, and we have about 4.6 million, 4.8 million. They have more people, and their heritage fund is at 1.7 trillion. So in a sense, you could, if you wanted to be very cautious, you could make the statement I just made. But in all actuality, if Norway could do it with their population, so could we. Yeah. And so I started to query, let me go to the chat for a minute. I want to go to the chat. Let me see here. I sent Chantal a message. Hope you were all doing well. Hey, Pam. Good to see you. The chat, I'm interested if you have anything to say about this. And so then I'll just keep going. And then I took a look at the rate of, what would we call this? Unaliving in Alaska, because it's extremely high. And I thought, how could that be? How could a state that gives its citizens a lot of money be one of the leading states in unaliving oneself and in addiction? It didn't seem rational to me if I were only going to use money as a metric. And I know that money isn't the only metric for the stability, and this is where we get down to human flourishing. But I'll go on. Alaska has one of the highest suicide rates in the United States. In 2022, Alaska ranks second among U.S. states, with unaliving about 27.6 deaths per 100,000. And it is not a new phenomenon. Even in so much as Alaska has been giving money, it's not new to Alaska. The reasons for this can be geographical location, isolation, long winters and limited daylight in parts of the state, substance abuse, mental health service access challenges, social isolation, and community disruption in some regions. Okay, but a lot of these, to me, seemed like symptoms and not a problem. They didn't seem like the problem. They seemed like symptoms of a larger problem. And so that's what I had to boil down on. Homelessness rate is high, but it's not the highest. So it's high, which is quite astounding, being as cold as it is for as long as it is per year. I actually found the same thing when I went to Northwest Territories. There were more homeless there than I ever would have imagined. And it really didn't sit well with me. Freezing to death, people freezing to death. So I'm going to move on from that. Alaska's around 37th in homelessness. But the more interesting question is the existence of permanent fund dividend does not automatically mean all social outcomes will be better. What can happen is the dividend can reduce poverty, increase household resilience, provide a financial cushion. But it does not automatically solve housing shortages, addiction, mental illness, geographic isolation, domestic violence, community dislocation, and so on and so forth. In other words, the Alaska example is very strong evidence that a resource-rich jurisdiction can build a citizen-owned wealth fund and pay annual dividends. It is not evidence that a dividend by itself eliminates homelessness, addiction, or unaliving. And so then you have to ask yourself, okay, then what does, right? If you can solve the problem of financial precarity, then why aren't people thriving? And that is because there are two elements, at least two, but there are two that we could settle on, elements of what constitutes the holistic good for humanity. For anybody watching this podcast, for me, for Chantal, for any human being in this world, we are not that different. We are pretty much the same in these regards as to our mental health and our physical security. There is really no difference worth discussing when it comes down to that. So let me move on.
Sorry, for some reason, everybody's messaging into the Facebook group.
Are they? About the
Oh yeah, I've had like 18 messages so far. That's why it's like,
about the podcast or about other things?
Oh, about everything.
Everything.
I've been online all day, and now all of a sudden the chat's exploding.
Right.
Oh, my
Okay.
goodness.
So let me go back to the chat. I want to know that people are into this. Blessings. Someone said to me 2 feet and heartbeat equates to being able to work. Yeah. Absolutely mismanaged. Don't worry, I'm still here listening. Okay, cool. Someone said to me 2 feet and a heartbeat equates to being able to work. Well, no, a brain does, and obviously the person that wrote that doesn't have one. So it takes 3 things at least. And so if a person can mindlessly make a statement like that, well, maybe they can work because they have 2 out of 3 things, but they're lacking a brain. They're lacking common sense. They're lacking empathy. They're lacking everything a human being needs to actually survive in this world, because this world is not about work alone. It is about what I'm discussing today, which are the 2 elements that actually make up a human being. This person may possess one of them, right, which is financial security or the ability to work, but they don't have the other one, all right? And that's the one that I'm going to get to, which proves the case and is what is wholly lacking in our society. I've proven to you that the money is there. I've proven to you that the Alberta Heritage Fund has the money for every person on AISH and every person in Alberta to be eating steak, lobster, and caviar for dinner every fucking night of the year. All right? Not that we should. You got to mix it up. You know, pheasant under glass one night, caviar the next. Okay? But we should be eating like a king or a queen would without being a king or a queen. Sam, like learning about it. I like learning about it. I really knew nothing other than it wasn't going to be my money, especially now that I'm worthless to government. Well, that's that's the present, Sam. That's today. I don't disagree with you. That's not tomorrow. That's today. Okay. And Chantal and I are trying to bring you the good news of what tomorrow looks like. And the fact that we are doing everything in our power and reaching out to other people, you included, Sam, you included Nicole, you included Ivy, you included Pam, and anyone else on here. We're reaching out to you to say we need to start something ourselves. It's not going to get done with the government we have. So how do we do it? Because we can do it. I'm 60 years old, August 12th. I still have the energy to fucking do this. All right? I still have it in me. So, and please, ladies and gentlemen, if you like today's podcast, brought to you by Pfizer. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
It's such a bad situation. Oh my goodness.
Right. Brought to you by the shittiest vaccine in the history of vaccines. Please like, share, subscribe. You can like it because you might like it. You can share it because somebody might need it, and you can subscribe so that you can keep hearing it. And that
it's not like we're going to ever shut up, Gavin.
Well, we're not shutting up. There could be nobody in here right now, and I would be yelling as loudly as I am today.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
See, it was my day to yell the other day. Right?
It was.
Everything about the Heritage Fund is your forte. That's your side of everything.
Yeah,
I'm leaving it there.
That's me in a nutshell. Actually, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell and I can't get up. That's me in a nutshell.
Well, because this is how we met, right? You had information about the Heritage Fund, and I hadn't plucked that bird yet.
Right. And that was a bird that needed to be plucked, and I had started the process.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do that too much. I started the process of that, and then that's how we got on it. Sam, I 100% agree. It gives me energy. Good, Sam. Great. The prospect of getting the UCP out. The prospect of getting of turning over the government apparatus. That's how I would say it. Because if the NDP gets in, they're as corrupt in their own unique way. Okay, and I've met Nenshi. I played his party. I got a gig before he became mayor, and he was the most ignorant, glib bastard I'd ever heard. I'd ever had the unfortunate moment to speak to.
Of meeting?
Yeah, just a greasy pig. Sorry, just greasy, swarmy, nothing to him, and that's never changed. And he's part of the WEF, and he was a young global leader. So his ideology and his thoughts are not his own. I can tell you that. He's been raised on a diet of world domination, and I'll leave it at that. So Alaska appears to have a stronger tradition of sharing resource wealth directly with citizens. Alaska also continues to struggle with some severe social problems. Okay? So if Alaska can have serious social problems and still provide annual dividends, then the existence of social problems is not by itself proof that a citizen dividend is unaffordable or impossible. Meaning, it is not an independent variable. It emerges from a network of conditions, social connection, family purpose, community responsibility, work, ritual, health, and a sense of belonging. When enough of those collapse simultaneously, meaning collapses with them. So I'm going to read that again, because now we get to the crux of the beginning, the very genesis of human flourishing. Okay? And what it is I'm all about, Chantal is all about, and I know y'all in the chat are all about. So I'm going to read it again because it's very important. If Alaska can have serious social problems and still provide annual dividends, then the existence of social problems is not by itself proof that a citizen dividend is unaffordable, meaning that it doesn't matter what the citizenry is, the money's there. You see? So the two are separate, but they are separate in that regard, and they are mutual to each other in another respect, because they both provide human flourishing. One without the other will not work. You can't have money and just a good thought, and you can't just have money and bad thoughts. You need both. You can't live as an island. And even those that own private islands are not the only ones on that island. And we know that by a certain island just south of St. John, Nevis Kitts in the Caribbean. I won't name the island, but you all know what the fuck I'm talking about.
The island.
The island, right. Not the one with, Hervé Villech's Zeppelin, not that island, different island. Meaning is not an independent variable. Meaning is not an independent variable. It emerges from a network of conditions, social connection. Now we're talking about meaning. So we have two things, money and meaning. Money and meaning. Money and meaning, okay? It emerges from a network of conditions, social connection, social connection, family, purpose, community, responsibility, work, ritual, health, and a sense of belonging. So without meaning, you will not be able to flourish. You will not be able to, just like Alaska has proven, you can give people, thousands of dollars a year and they will still unalive themselves. They will still fall into addiction because these other things are not in place, like community, connection, right? Purpose of your life. If you're sitting there on a really shitty couch with the the springs popping through it, and all you do is play online video games all day, all night, and you have no connection, you're going to devolve. Your psychology will devolve. You will start to suffer from that, right? Even that guy that hosted that protest that you and I took over, Chantal, posted yesterday. Yeah, posted yesterday that he said, all I'm going to do this summer is sit home and turn the lights out and close the blinds and play video games. And the comments were like, what are you trying to do? Kill yourself? Like, you know what I mean?
It's a form of escapism. If you can't handle your real life, you find ways to venture into something else, whether it's you dive into a book, you listen to an audio book,
right,
or you meditate, or you watch movies on Netflix, or whatever. It's a form of self-preservation.
Right.
And I speak to that because I used to be a big World of Warcraft online gamer.
Yeah, I was Battlefield Vietnam was my big one, and Counter-Strike. Huge. And yeah, I went there to forget. But, and that's not to say that these things intrinsically are bad in and of themselves. The problem is when your entire lifestyle revolves around continued dopamine hits and with no connection to a real world, then at some point your mind starts to reckon with itself. Your subconscious starts to reckon with the conscious mind and saying, we can't keep doing this. I'm going to atrophy. I need stimulation.
It's not only that too, it's all of a sudden if you lose that dopamine, because let's say your account runs out or you can't get online for an X amount of days, you're going to look at a huge dip in your depression.
Right. And we don't want people
to... So it's moderation. Moderation is key for everything.
Right. And we don't want people to feel that way. I'm just going to go back to the chat for a sec.
Sure.
Yeah. Sam, I agree 100%. It gives me energy. Yeah. Yes, exactly, Sam. I used to make pumpkin chiffon pies. Can I have one? You're coming to the protest, right? Oh my God, you just made me salivate.
You and your confections, your cookies and pie now. Oh my goodness.
Oh, I know. I'm
gonna have to make sure I've got stuff for your sweet tooth when you come up on the first.
Yeah. I used to make for Nenshi private contract. That was almost 20 years ago. I didn't actually meet him, but his gopher would come pick them up from the bakery at $30 a pie. Right. And we wonder why You know, I mean, yeah, right. And I wonder why he was just a greasy, schwarmy, you know, nothing when I met him. Too much pie juice on his face. Wipe that off. And these are the people. These are the people we look up to, right? A guy that won't even go get his own pie. Oh my God. Yeah. Like, what do you say about that, ladies and gentlemen? Jesus, even I go to get my own pie, for God's sakes. You know, wow, wow. You know, I need to be his personal trainer. I can tell you that. I put that guy through the fucking. Oh yeah. So under that framework, addiction isn't merely a substance problem. Isolation isn't merely a distance problem. Lack of sunlight isn't merely a biological problem. Individualism isn't merely a political philosophy. They're all pressures acting on the same thing, a person's relationship to life, community, and purpose. Okay? So, once again, sitting down to play a video game is not going to ruin your life. It could actually be good for you. But the longer you are there without the connections of what the human species was designed for, or at least in evolutionary terms was brought toward, as if you are bereft of those things, then you are going to fall to the worst part of your nature. And the more you are tied to those intrinsic values of the species, the more you will learn, the more educated you will become about the species, about people. That's the work that I did once I stopped playing Counter-Strike and Battlefield Vietnam. I got busy, you know, learning about myself and about my neighbor. Why do people act the way they do? Now, when I go to the mall, I mean, you know, I do a little bit of shopping because that's my feminine side. But I love observing people. I just love observing them standing there.
Oh, you're one of
sitting
those creepy people watchers too?
No. It's very innocuous. It's not creepy and weird.
Must be
And
amusing.
yeah, you know, it's not like that. You know, the guy in The Simpsons. You know, why don't you come down to my cellar? I got some. You know, no, it's not that. It's not weird. It's I'm naturally curious about the world I live in and about my species, about my people, which are all people. Right? When I say all people, or my people, I don't say indigenous or Ukrainian or Chinese. I say all people because we all stem from the same thing. Whether you believe in God or you believe in nature, both of them are the same thing. There is no third option there, and that's where I begin and end. So all those pressures acting at the same thing, a person's relationship to life, community, and purpose. In fact, many critics of modern society, from Emily Durkheim to Robert Putnam to Viktor Frankl, have made versions of this argument. So when I was making this argument, I was in good company. Okay? I wasn't alone in a box thinking about, oh, you know, aren't I smart? I wanted to be proven wrong. And yet some of the greatest thinkers, like Durkheim, who came up with the term, what is that word? Anime, which is basically the collapse of society around drug addiction, unaliving yourself, the decline of the social fabric, the overreach of government. All of these things led to what he termed coined the term, anime. Okay, not the same thing as what you see in Japan. Different.
I was going to make a comment there, but I thought, no, I'll be good. I like anime.
No, it's spelled Anomie, anime. And it predates anime. So Durkheim's concept of anime is particularly relevant. His thesis wasn't that people commit or unalive themselves. I got to be careful for YouTube, I guess. People that unalive themselves because they're poor or because they live far apart. Okay, we've lived far apart since the dawning of mankind or humankind, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? We lived separate. We didn't die over it. We thrived, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're even in the 50s. you were a farmer and the next guy was a mile away, right? You didn't jump onto a chair with a rope. It was fine, right? Because we were still connected.
Yeah, because your neighbor would have something that you didn't have, and you guys would trade.
Exactly.
It
right?
wasn't completely autonomous, right?
Exactly.
There was human connection, and that's what we drifted away from.
Right. Ivy's back. I lost comments. I'm back. And Sam says it's really my only valuable skill, making yummy things. It, if you did nothing else in this world, that is the one of the most valuable things you could do. You don't think people like are going to brag about you? You don't think that like if you come out, let's say to a protest or something, people are going to sample your wares and go, where the hell did this come from? I mean, I'm sure you're amazing. Rich people, yeah. I love words and learning about how they got here. The job I thought I wanted when I was a little boy was boss of the dictionary. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Then I have your attention, and that's fantastic and fabulous. So Durkheim's thesis was not just because people were poor or because they, somehow needed to unalive themselves, which is only a symptom of a problem. Okay. There's a bigger problem than somebody wanting to do that. It stems from some first cause, right? Whatever that cause is. It was that people became vulnerable when the social bonds and shared structures that give life coherence weaken. Okay, so when we're today, now that when we're in today's society, and we don't know why we feel the way we do, but we know we feel it, and we can't deny it. We may hide it. If we're on a bus or a C train, we might, tell our friends, "Oh, nothing's wrong." No. Stay positive, right? Instead of getting down to why do you feel the way you do, there might be an actual good reason as to why you feel the way you do. And that's where I always start. I don't start with, oh, just be positive, would you? No. I'm not going to tell you how to feel. You feel a certain way because you feel that way. Why would I take that away from you? The whole idea is to get down to why do you feel that way? I accept that you feel that way, but why? And if we're honest enough with ourselves, we can look around the greater expanse of whether it's our city or our globe, and we can infer that things have gone breasts upward. Let's say it that way, right? Chest upwards. We'll say it that way. We have nothing to hang our psychology on anymore. We have no anchor anymore. We are missing an anchor, and our greatest anchor is each other. One of my greatest anchors in the last 2 months has been Chantal. Yeah. She's helped me in the last few days, sort some things out. She's been there in a moment of, crisis or when I just want to bitch. And that's invaluable, especially with somebody that smart. If you're lucky enough to find somebody like that. And I hope we all are. She's been amazing for me, and I need that. The human species needs that. That's why I started this podcast, because I know people need that. First and foremost, you need that. All right. I'm sorry that I can't come to you with information about how much people are complaining on Facebook today, but this is far more important. And if we humble ourselves and allow ourselves to hear a good word, right? And to really get in touch with our human nature, not some spiritual guru bullshit, not Pentecostalism, not New Age, nothing. I'm not talking about that. Just connect with one another again. Then we've done a good thing for the day, I think. So, it is because that the structures that give life coherence weaken, right? So if we apply my reasoning to the argument, then the argument to Alaska, the argument becomes the dividend may improve material conditions. Material conditions alone do not create belonging. Modern life introduces unprecedented levels of individualism, mobility, addiction, access, media exposure, and social fragmentation. Remote communities may experience those pressures while simultaneously losing traditional structures that once provided identity and purpose. So the tribe is still there, right? In a small community, the houses are still exist, right? Right, the wigwams and whatever teepees, they're still there. Right, the small community, all the houses, but no one is engaged anymore. That's the difference between that healthy community and the one that is falling apart. We see this absolutely on a civic level in our cities, but it is being experienced by the smaller communities. So you would think, well, it's a smaller community, people see each other more. Not necessarily. Everybody's in their house. Everybody is individualized, and they're too busy with their own thoughts and their own beliefs. And this is where we start to fragment as people. And this is where harm comes in. And therefore, a population can receive financial benefits and still experience high rates of unaliving, addiction, and social breakdown. Do you know where I am?
You're in Calgary.
Well, I'm right here. And now I'm right here. And now I'm over here. Do you know where I am in terms of the reading?
No, because I'm going back and forth from Facebook to different things that I'm being tagged on. It's like nuts.
Oh, okay. Well, I think the people would like to hear from you. Can we get you to read a little bit?
Sure.
Okay.
I just have to find where we're at.
Okay, so so if you go down to humans have always suffered despair, but modern societies may have created new conditions. So you're going to have to go down. If you see something that says the one thing I'd push back on is the phrase, then just go a little bit below that. Humans have always suffered despair.
I'm looking.
This is where we need, game show music. Do 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 do.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, everybody in the
I'm-
chat. Do 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 do. Everybody do 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 boom boom. Right?
That's it. I would be disqualified. God,
Yeah.
kicked from the channel. Oh my goodness.
Keep looking. Keep looking. Nicole says, I'm the same. I love observing people and animals. You can learn a lot from observing behaviors. My God, I learned so much about myself, Nicole. Like I learned unfathomable things about me observing other people. Number one, it's very interesting. I needed medication for this, and the medication helped. I will admit that immensely. The medication helped immensely. But then I started looking around at who I was in a social situation, and I realized that I was the same as everybody else, literally meaning, or figuratively meaning, that I was in the matrix just like everybody else. My head was always down. I didn't look at people. I was nervous. I didn't like people. I thought only my thoughts mattered. And it's an amazing thing. With the help of escitalopram, it's called. It's making me fat, goddammit, but it is helping upstairs. I can tell you that. With the aid of that, I was able to start looking above people. Like, not that I'm above you. I don't mean it in that sense. I mean, I started looking up, and then I started to see what was going on around me. I started to realize that all these people are, ostensibly living in a matrix, right? They are, if you've ever seen the movie Koyaanisqatsi, it's a great movie that was done about how since the turn of the century, mid-century modern upwards, and the growth of cities and everything else, how we move in an almost herd-like manner everywhere we go. And it's all sped up. It's in real time, but it's all sped up. Koyaanisqatsi, if you ever get the moment to watch some of it, it's long. It's 3-4 hours long. But if you just scrub through it, it's amazing. Yeah, Koyaanisqatsi. Boy, I can't spell it, but I will look it up. And so I'll look it up. Give me 2 seconds. Give me 2 seconds. I'm looking. Here it comes. Okay, so if you want to write that, well, no, I'll copy it and I'll paste. Where am I going? I'm going here. Okay. Here it comes. You can see it on, you can watch it on YouTube. It's on YouTube. Philip Glass did the music, and it's very industrial. And you know, it's I mean, it's quite amazing. I've never sat through the whole thing because you really just get the point as you watch certain segments of it. And interestingly enough, Koyaanisqatsi is a Hopi word, an indigenous word, a Hopi word that means life out of balance. And the director of this did the most amazing job in the history of film of showing just how out of balance our lives are. I mean, it's just a fascinating revelation in terms of how we move as people through life. We are just a herd of cattle. There's a lot of New York City in there because, you know, it's a big city, right? But there are other places. People going down escalators. As a matter of fact, I used some of the assets from that movie when I did my Rush tribute during COVID at the Spark Telecenter, or Spark Center in Calgary. I had some of that video because there's a couple Rush dudes that, you know, that really speak to that. So anyway, I'll come back to Chantal. Are you there? Did you find me?
Yeah, I think I found it that any theory of human flourishing that cannot account for both material substance and existential participation is incomplete. Did I find the right spot?
You might have gone. Have you seen anything about Durkheim yet?
No.
No? Or, yeah, Durkheim, Robert Putnam, Viktor Frankl? No? Because it's below that. So, yeah. Putting the pressure on, putting the pressure on.
Oh, well, no, I think it's just because, like, I'm doing my immunotherapy at the same time, so my body pain is like
is it
climbing
flaring?
very quickly, and
Well,
it's like, holy
you let
shit.
me know that, girl. I can take it. I can take it.
Well, I'm trying to hide my device, right? Because I've got my syringe and everything all
look at that.
connected, and it's like, holy cow.
Oh, man. Okay, well, let me continue. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have empathy? Do we have understanding at the moment here? I do. I'll keep going, Chantal. If you can find where I'm reading, maybe try to find that as we go along.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Humans have always suffered despair, but modern societies may have created new conditions that amplify it. Okay, so people have always suffered. I mean, we're the species, right? We've suffered. You know, cavemen suffered psychological breakdown. I'm sure they did. You know, although they weren't that bright to begin with, but still, you know, they would have suffered in all the ways that we suffer. However, our modern societies, really since the mid-century period, I believe, have created new conditions that amplify it, right? The caveman didn't have a cell phone. He didn't have to worry about texting. He wasn't on Facebook, but he was still depressed sometimes. But now we are entering this moment of disconnection that is above and beyond what our brain and what our body can handle. So new conditions that amplify it. Weakened community ties, commodification of relationships, right? What can you do for me? What can I do for you? Everything's transactional. You see what I mean? We're commodifying each other now, right? Terrible. We've lost relationships since the 60s. Divorce has gone through the roof, right? Because narcissism these days is more a way to get what you want than it is a mental illness. Everybody's narcissistic. And I see this when I go out. And then I break the chains. I break the chains. I'll say to somebody will be standing there like, I don't know, like they either couldn't give a shit about me or they're way too into themselves. And I'll just turn to them and say, hey, man, how's it going? What's up? Right? Like, oh, well, I'm good, man. You know, how are you? And I'll be like, well, you know, shit, dude, I'm at least fair to Midland, you know, not bad, not bad. 60-40. What's going on? Why are you here? Oh, I'm just picking up a shawarma, you know. Oh shit, you got the shawarma, I got the, and then 5 minutes later, we're talking about fucking global politics. And I have completely transformed this guy's day, right? He's not going to forget me. And I love to have those conversations. But once again, we're commodifying everything. Greater access to addictive substances. Thank you, CIA, by the way. And we won't go down that today. But if you want to know where your drugs, most of your drugs come from, they come from your government. All right? They come from the government. They don't hit the streets out of nothing, out of the ether. Acid just doesn't appear, right? Crack just doesn't come out of the crack of the sidewalk. Social atomization, meaning that we're all alone, we're in our house, you know, and a decline in shared sources of meaning. The human vulnerabilities are ancient. The scale and prevalence may be modern. That's a big statement. The human vulnerabilities are ancient. The scale and prevalence may be modern. What we are experiencing now may be a new thing, and the only new thing. Rock and roll was the newest form of music, I guess. Maybe rap. But we've experienced nothing new there. Just the regurgitation, the commodification of art. You see? Commodifying everything. Right? In other words, despair, addiction, unaliving, social collapse, and alienation are not new phenomena. None of them. None of them. What may be new is the extent to which modern societies create conditions that allow those vulnerabilities to affect large numbers of people simultaneously. Look at COVID. Look at COVID. The other term for what I'm explaining here in 2 words is mass psychosis. During COVID, everyone was experiencing a mass psychosis. Almost all human beings. We didn't know where we were going to land. We didn't know what was going to happen to us. We didn't know what the next steps were. We were told to remain in our house. All of our social connections were gone. It became a mass psychosis, and it became worse with the vaccine. It separated us wholly and completely from one another, right? And just like drugs came from the government, take a guess where the separation of humanity is coming from. It's not coming from you. It's not your desire. It's not your will. You accept it. That's what we did with COVID, right? Please, sir, may I have some more? Right?
Well, most of what we're experiencing these days is manufactured.
Yes.
To some degree.
Yes, and Noam Chomsky, although you know, now we know hung out with Epstein more times than than Bill Clinton, maybe. Wrote a book in the 80s called Manufacturing Consent. And the book, if you know the book was all about how the media, in coercion with the government, is the media that you consume. Misinformation, once again, disinformation, that's not our term. Gig economy, not our term. None of this terminology comes from us. It comes from media and it comes from government. Okay? And we just accept it. You'll never really hear me use the term gig economy unless I'm talking about a musician, because the musician owns the gig. It was always our word, and it always will be. Nobody's going to take that word, and they're certainly not going to use it to describe the continuing bastardization of conditions society lives under. Gig economy, right? Side hustle. What? Side hustle? What the fuck is that? What is that? Do you know where I am now? Do you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Like history, a person could suffer.
Yeah, historically, a person can suffer loss of purpose, isolation from their community, addiction, trauma, and family breakdown. Yeah. So,
Right.
but those experiences were often constrained by stronger social structures, family networks, religious institutions, communal obligations, rites of passage, local identity, and economic interdependence. I don't know if you want to, dive into that a little bit further or not. So a farmer in a medieval village might have had a brutally hard life, but he generally knew who he was, what his role was, who depended on him, and what his obligations were, and also what his community believed.
Right. And let's really kind of, knock that home, because, a farmer in a medieval village, all right, the 12th century, might have had a brutally hard life. No doubt about it. Most peasants did, and farmers. But he generally knew who he was, right? Who am I? He knew that. Who am I? What his role was? I'm a farmer. That's what I do. I do farming, right? And I play the ukulele or the lyre, right? Who depended on him? He had a family. People depended on him. And he was proud of that, because maybe his wife was proud of him, and his kids too. You see? Who depended on him? What his obligations were? Well, I have obligations. I need to, swath the ground to make wheat, to bring home bread for the family and to sell at the market. I need to provide for my family, right? I need to chastise the kids. Whatever it was, he knew what he was there for. What his community believed. What his community believed. We don't know what our community believes anymore. We don't know what our fucking neighbor believes, right? He could be a mega nut, or he could be, he could be anything. We don't know that because we don't know our neighbor anymore. And God, I'm old enough to remember what a little bit of community looked like. A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit. Go ahead, Chantal. Yeah.
Yeah, so modern societies provide enormous freedoms and opportunities, but they can also loosen many of those structures. So a person can be surrounded by people and still feel socially detached. They can have access to endless entertainment and still feel purposeless. They can have more material comfort than their ancestors and still struggle with meaning. That's true. Like you can have a really big house and the perfect job and the perfect family, but it might not hit where it needs to hit.
Well, because it's never everything, right? It's a vacuum.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
There's always something that you don't have, right?
Right.
And people like to really focus on what they don't have versus what they do.
Right. And conversely, you can be the nicest people in the world and have the most loving family and be connected to your community. But if you have no way to sustain yourself, it doesn't matter, because you're going to die. So both things are as equally important, although I would argue that if you have community, you have sustainability. That would be my argument. But yeah, go on. Yeah, great.
So that's why some scholars and philosophers distinguish between material deprivation, so lack of food, shelter, and income, and existential deprivation, so lack of purpose, belonging, identity, and significance.
Right.
I think that's our biggest one right now.
Yes.
Right? Because human beings were never meant to be work drones. And that's why depression is as rampant as it is for everybody.
Right. Right. And if somebody ever tries to bring the argument to you, well, do you know how hard people worked, like in history? I'd say, yeah, if you're talking about Mesopotamia, about 4 hours a day.
Yep.
And they took care of everything they needed to take care of. They built a certain section of road or whatever, gravel. They, beat down, some reeds so they could walk. They gathered nuts and fruits and wheat, because that was by the time agriculture came in. That was about 4 hours a day. The rest of the day was theirs, eating an apple under a tree, teaching their kids how to read or write. Mesopotamia had running, what do you call it? Toilets. They had running toilets 4,000 years ago. They literally had sewers 4,000 years ago. Quite astounding. Did they get it done on 4 hours? You're damn right they did. Everything we've been sold is a lie, right?
Yeah.
We don't need to be this big, ladies and gentlemen. We need to be sustainable, right? Bigness is an outgrowth. Grandiosity is an outgrowth of the fundamental things in your life being taken care of. And if you don't have that, you can't grow. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So it jumps back into your Alaska question. So Alaska's dividend helps address material deprivation, but many of the forces driving unaliving, addiction, and homelessness may be rooted in deeper issues of social cohesion, identity, addiction, purpose, and community.
Right. Right.
So then that is a coherent explanation for why a place can simultaneously distribute resource wealth directly to citizens, have relatively low taxes, and still struggle with serious social problems. Well, yeah, because they're not meeting the people where they're at.
No, and
they're just throwing money at a problem.
That's all they're doing. And if I may, Chantal, this is all we see of current government, whether it's NDP, liberal, conservative, rhino, whatever the hell you want to call it, Dominion, whatever you want to call it. We never see the holistic approach to solving the problems of a society. We see, I don't know, the NDP coming up with a new thing head by Zachary Weeks that's somehow going to save the world. No, that alone will do absolutely nothing, and they are only wasting your money to attempt it again for the 100th time. And you know how many times it hasn't worked? 99. So they're wasting your money to do nothing. It's like Jesus is coming, look busy. That's all it is. Okay? Because what a society needs is a two-pronged approach, which is what we're covering today, Chantal. You need financial stability, right? Or let's say, biological stability, and you need the existential stability. You need purpose. You need belonging. You need access to a job of your choice. God damn it! You need community. You need people around you that will either lift you up when you need it, or tell you to sit the fuck down when you need that.
Yeah.
Right. And Chantal and I talked about this in terms of any relationship we ever have to politics. That what we need are people around us to tell us in a moment of our own making that we are fucking up royally and we better stop or our days are done. That's how hard we need to be on each other.
I'd give you a swift kick in the pants.
As would I.
As you would.
As would I. The only difference is that I would have to run away very quickly. You wouldn't. Because there's nothing I could do to you. You just crush me. A kick in my ass would be the least of what you'd give me. But for me, I'd have to kick you really hard in the ass and then run away simultaneously.
And I would chase you like the boulder from, what the heck's that show? Indiana Jones.
Right, but I swear to the gods, ladies and gentlemen, I swear to the gods, I would still kick her ass. No matter how far I had to run. And it wouldn't be that far because
if I ever ended up being not as humble as I am, I would absolutely invite that.
Yeah. Well, we need it because like we've already discussed on this podcast, even with my analogy of Russia, you never know how you're going to react in the world.
Mhm.
I have caved before and it surprised me. And I have acted before when it equally surprised me. I have no clue how I will react in a moment. The only thing I can do is steelman myself the best I can around a certain ethic and around a certain ethos and around people who will do their best to not allow me to act inappropriately or wrongly or go down a bad road. But I cannot, no human being can assure you that they won't. And if they tell you they can, run away from that person. Run far away from them. So I just want to, because Sam's the chat has become extremely quiet. I don't know why, but Sam does say, "Holy Chantal, you brave." I'm supposed to. I love how she spelled that. I'm supposed to, right? You know what I mean? Like that's some black right there. She got some black in it somewhere. Supposed to. I'm supposed to do that kind of thing too, but I'm too scared. It's easy though. That's a lot. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, how do you do that? How do you make roses? Do a podcast, do a page the way she has, have an app thing, and somehow have time to shoot yourself with the kinds of medication. Yeah, that you know what I mean? Like, no, I mean, I'm learning from this woman just in spite of herself, even that when I go to bed at night, I have nothing to complain about. All right. I literally
Well,
don't.
I showed you the box, didn't I, of all of the roses that I have done so far?
Yeah, why don't you tell the wonderful people or show them better
Well,
yet?
I'll show everybody. So from yesterday, just before the podcast started, I had to repurpose an Amazon box. I was working on more rose pins, and I got 300 of them made. Here are the 300 rose pins.
Wow.
On cards, already ready to go.
Wow.
So they have been restocked
In one day.
in one day. I have more rose stuff coming in, probably the end of the week or next week. So
Wow.
I told you I wanted to make 1,000 for the teach-in. So that's my goal.
Yep. So if how much are they? Well, Ivy, it's your lucky day. It just so happens that we have a special on today, and you for your rose, it is absolutely free of charge. What do you think of that? I mean, the deal only lasts for today into antiquity, so forever.
Yeah.
But if you want one, Ivy, we can get one to you. By we, I mean her, Chantal.
Yeah, just PM me on Facebook your address and how many you want, and I'll send them to you.
Yeah. Sam wants one too. Hell yeah.
Yeah, same thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have 1,000 that we're going to be giving out, ostensibly 1,000 at on July 1st at the protest/teach-in at the Alberta legislature. All right. And we want to see everybody there. We want to see everybody.
Show everybody what they look like.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it does.
Yep. No, that's well. Go to your right. Yep. Go a little more, just to the edge of the screen almost. Other way. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. Boom. Right there. Go over a little bit. Yeah.
It's because of that thing that I have
it keeps
on,
flickering,
right?
but okay. Yeah. If everybody can kind of see that, I'll also show you a picture of because I have an actual image of them. Let me find that image.
Yeah, that might be your best bet.
Boom. So yeah, so that's the rose in all actuality. And if you want a rose, Chantal will absolutely send you one. The purpose of the rose, Chantal, please.
It's like our remembrance poppy. for the people in the disability community. So people that support us, other advocates, disabled people in general, to remember the people that we've lost and to carry them with us.
Well, now might be just a moment to to put up, that memoriam, just to
Yeah.
kind of for people to get an understanding of why Chantal is doing what she's doing in regard to the roses and just how serious we take what we're doing.
Send in the clouds, don't bother, they're here.
I get it. It's a little heavy, but it's real. It's one of the real parts of this struggle. It is another motivator for Chantal and I. And it's
Yeah, and I started making these before we lost Bruce publicly.
You did too, didn't you?
Yeah. It was an idea that came to mind because I've got the Alberta rose everywhere. So yeah, it seemed to fit, and I thought, the veterans have the poppy. Well, we need the rose.
We do. It's the Alberta rose, and this is our Alberta. And that's why we're fighting on Canada Day, because this is our Alberta, ladies and gentlemen, not theirs. It is to be shared by all people. And at the moment, it's not being shared. It's being stolen. Your money is being stolen. Your dignity is being stolen. Your friends are collapsing and falling under the weight of this. And I can't allow that in so much as I can do. I can't save anybody, but I am compelled to help. And as for the image of the rose, why don't we just pick it up a little bit, and we will share with you, ladies and gentlemen, Chantal's ¡1 hit in Guam, making huge strides in Uzbekistan, and Bali. I believe Bali has now picked it up, and they're playing it at all of their traditional dances. So good for Bali. So
well, that, and I think with the roses, like the pins, I think a lot of the visual design within the video itself is going to hit another chord.
I think
and
so
that's
too.
why those roses are there.
Well, it gives context now and understanding for what that rose really means. So please enjoy this, ladies and gentlemen. Please.
Are you coming to the steps where the quiet voices rise, where the parents bring the paperwork and the hungry children cry? Are you coming to the steps where the sick are told to wait, where they cut the hands that held us up, then call the damage fate? We are still here. We are still here. Our backs against the wall without fear. We are still here. We stand as one. We fight their lies until our work is done. Are you coming for the children who were promised care and time, where the forms replace the helping hands and support becomes a line? coming for the families who have begged and called and tried, while the doors keep closing quietly and the need stays locked inside? We are still here. We are still here. Our backs against the wall without fear. We are still here. We stand as one. We'll fight their lies until our work is done. Don't go quiet. Don't go alone. Let them reap what they have sown. They could never hide their shame. It is they who bear the blame. I'm coming for the sick ones who can't lose another thread, where the medicine, the rights, the care stand between the living and the dead. Are you coming for the renters with the notice on the door, where the check was never enough to live and now they're taking more? We are still here. We are still here. Our backs against the wall without fear. We are still here. We stand as one. We'll fight their lies until our work is
Wow, huh? What a song.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you want to talk about the roses, the significance?
Well, I'm kind of curious as to what everybody picked up off of the rose placement, how the roses ended up coming after the people in droves, right? And stayed long after the people left.
Right. And how they have more meaning on the grounds and surrounding the legislature than the legislature does.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's the real meaning of the people's house, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
It was a lot of foreshadowing because I didn't want to tell anybody right away about my rose idea, right? I was kind of chewing it a little bit, like, do I want to do this? Like, I don't want to step on any toes, that kind of stuff. And then it was like, you know what? I have rose tattoos all over, right? Roses have been a thing for me for a long time. And I thought, you know what? It seems to be my, what is it? My logo on everything. Right. So I thought, I'm just going to pull the trigger. And if people don't like it, whatever. It's all good. It's just an idea.
No, it's a beautiful idea. And, if I go to the chats, I saw some interesting comments. Let me take a look. So yeah, sad about Bruce. Absolutely. The roses, Nicole says, I'm enjoying the content. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you for that vote of confidence. Ivy says sad. Of course. Nicole, wow, awesome. Chantal, Sam, the rose, they're taking off everything too on signs, licenses. I didn't know that.
Well, because they're trying to make us independent from Canada, right? And they're trying to rewrite what Alberta is.
But Alberta is
So
the
that's why we're losing it.
Right, but Alberta is the Alberta rose. It's not the Canada
And it
rose.
always will be.
Well, it's not the Canada rose. It grows wild in Alberta.
Yeah.
And I think it was Alberta that said, hey, why don't we do the Alberta Rose? It wasn't Canada that said that. So what? Once again,
Mhm.
stupid people, ladies and gentlemen. Like, this is all propaganda. The whole thing is propaganda. Jesus, they think that people are propagandists. There can't be any bigger propagandists than your goddamn government. None in the world. It beats the simp on Facebook by, by an entire world. Your government are the people that are propagandizing you to death. Beautiful song, Pam says. Thanks, Pam. Yeah. Excuse me. This song is beautiful. Makes me bawl my eyes out. Ivy. Oh, that's sweet, Ivy. That's very sweet. And you, Chantal, you say I have more songs.
Yeah.
Well, isn't
I
that
have a library of like 7 songs. Yeah.
right?
We've got that one that I sent you last night for Canada Day.
Right. And I am about the
That's
work.
a fun one.
No, I love it. I'm at the moment I'm trying to deal just with a few parts of it. Great tune. But I started last night doing the video for this, and so I don't want to release this song until we do the video. I've said that about my song too, but my song is going to take way longer than this. But I believe we want to release this on Canada Day because it is the perfect anthem for what we are going to be doing in front of the legislature. It's a powerful tune. It will hit you. It will motivate you. It will do everything Elton John can't do for you. It's an amazing song, and I don't want to sell the farm here, but there's even an indigenous part in the beginning of it that I've layered into the entire song. That Pam, I was thinking of you when I was doing this, but I think it will be self-explanatory when you see it, or it will make sense when you see it. But I started doing that last night, and we plan on releasing that once again, #1 hit in Guam on Canada Day. So be there or be square. That's what they say. Nicole says it's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Ivy, I'd love to hear them. Pam, I played it today at City Hall. My eyes burning, but it's still not for my family. But it's not for my family. We are all family, as my street family is getting smaller. Yeah, it's about to get smaller. That's why we need each other. That's why we need each other. I will fight as long as I can, says Pam. My Kokum told me, don't give up. These people need you. You are different. I said, I'm the same. Well, Pam, you are the same and you are different. You can be two things at once. You are no different than the human species. You're not from Mars. I grant you that, unless there's something you're not telling me. You are from this planet, but you are operating in your unique way, right? I am operating in my own unique way. Chantal in her own unique way. Ivy in hers. Sam in hers. I don't want to. I know I'm thinking. Nicole in hers. We are all. If I missed anybody, I'm sorry. We are all operating in our own unique way. When people say, "Oh my God, you're special," what they mean to say is that you're operating in your strength. You're doing the thing they're afraid of. That my whole career was based on that. People coming up to me and saying, God has blessed you. And I said, well, I didn't see God in the practice room once. You don't understand where what you see was not granted to me. I worked at that. I worked at that through my entire lifetime so that people could make stupid statements like God has blessed you. No, I blessed me with the abilities that a God or the universe or nature gave me. And then people take a look at the output of that thing and they say, well, that's amazing. I could never do that. Well, no, you could. You gave up on that. Whatever your thing was, you gave up. Don't give up. Sure, you're going to eat a lot of macaroni and cheese. There's a lot of craft dinner in your future if you're going to pursue something like that. But I had to pursue it. I mean, for me, it was inevitable. I was 6 months old, pulling pots and pans out and banging on them. I didn't really have a choice. Music chose me. Art chose me. I didn't choose it. But you are operating in your strength, Pam, and we all have our strengths. Whoa, the chat's getting. Um, they have a new slogan. I forget what it is. They have a new slogan. Oh,
Like the Alberta
the
government.
Alberta
has a new
government.
slogan.
Oh, yeah, that would not be. Tansi Tapwe Manando Kia Beautiful. Did I say that right, Pam? I mean, I feel like I almost did. I know Kia because, it's a car. I don't know I don't know if I get the rest of it right. Ivy, did I hear correctly that you would be doing a live podcast? Yes, Ivy. Yes. We as a matter of fact, we just procured the necessary elements to do the podcast live. It only took me till 2 o'clock in the morning a couple nights ago to figure it out. But we are going live, perhaps noon, perhaps 1. I don't know. Chantal and I have to figure that one out. Live on Canada Day. So yes. Brendan was there.
Because our goal is to be there for 10 o'clock, and then I've been secretly working on all of our talking points and stuff to really draw in attention to the misinformation that's been spreading about AIF, ADAP, and everything else, which I think is the most important way that we approach this teach-in.
Right.
And yeah, that's what I've been working on. I think we're at like 14 pages, so I'm going to have to bring the water to keep you hydrated.
We are at no loss. I will take a few Pepsis, my dear, and we will run with that.
Oh, no, you don't have to bring those. I'll have those with me.
Oh.
You're not bringing those all the way up
I
from
know.
Calgary.
I'm a
you
silly monkey. I'm a silly monkey.
you went home to Calgary with like 4 Pepsis in,
I know.
in your bags.
I was drinking Pepsi and eating pierogies for a week. All thanks to this lady. Kokum is grandmother. Well, thank you, Pam, for letting me know that. Brendan was there today at City Hall as well. Brendan, yeah? Right, Chantal? Brendan, yeah?
I guess.
Yeah, okay. You got it perfect. Oh, thank you, Pam. Yeah, okay. So what are we looking at here? You know what? We've been online for 2 hours now. And that's a long time. We have a ways to go with the rest of this, but I would almost like to maybe stay the course of this for Monday. Let me ask you all in the chat, how are you feeling about today's discussion? I am curious because I would like to finish it up on Monday. I want to get to the human flourishing part, which I believe is the only reason I did this to begin with. So if you'd like that, we can do it then. Ivy says, thank you all for going to bat for us that cannot be there. Yeah, of course, Ivy. And, only God knows, man. We might meet you someday. We might be around your neck of the nabe.
Mm-hmm.
And we may just, have to come say hi. There might be travel in our future. I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. Me, I'm pretty used to that. I was on the road for 30 years of my life. Great. I always feel lighter after watching you two. That's all we want. To know that you have the information you need and that you are never alone, ever.
No.
Ever. And this is the part of community that we're missing and we're lacking. And it's all Chantal and I talk about, is how to bring us back into alignment with each other again. Right? Like real alignment, like architectural alignment. How to do that architecturally so that we are closer to one another. We are more accountable to one another. And I have done that work. I have done a 30-page civic proposal on how to architecturally bring us closer together, how to bring art, music, theater, dance, visual art, motion picture, arts, sciences, philosophy, the general store again, and whatever the desires of your heart are, community gardening, mechanics, everything you could think of, back into alignment with an actual living ecosystem of a tribe, of a community, of a district that can thrive, that can literally thrive with the money of a heritage fund that ostensibly should be at $2 billion and is not. And a society, at least within Alberta, that could be showing the rest of the world how it's done. We could have bragging rights. Like, you want to talk about being put on the map. You don't do that by erecting an $800 million building. You do that by putting $800 million into the people. And the people become a thriving ecosystem of care and responsibility and love and compassion and all these things. And you don't think that there's going to be some city in Europe going, we got to fucking get there. What's going on over there? What is happening with Alberta? You don't separate. You don't separate. You just do it right. And in order to do it right, you're going to have to collapse a thing or two along the way. You're going to have to be honest. You're going to have to put yourself at risk. But by doing that, you can affect the kind of change that will bring us all into alignment with one another and have us thriving as a beautiful society. Thank you all for, yeah, of course. Pam, very well said. Yay. Monday is good. Great. I always feel, right. Okay. I'll be in Edmonton on June 29th for cardiologist appointment. Oh, well, sucks to be all of us then. Because, I guess they won't move it to Canada, huh? That's okay. You take that appointment and you be healthy and well. That's what matters to us.
Well, depending on what time, I could always meet for coffee because I'm not far from Edmonton.
Well, yeah. I don't have Jeff Bezos's jet, so I couldn't make it. But Ivy, what do you think? Why don't you hook up with Chantal in that regard and see what you can see the rabbit that can be pulled out of the hat. That would be fantastic. I think that would be amazing. So we will leave it there, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd love that, Chantal. Yeah, I mean, you two ladies are like beautiful. I love you. You got a lot of spunk. You got a lot of. There's something about you girls. Yes, continue on Monday, please. Okay, Nicole, I will. So have a good weekend, really, ladies and gentlemen, is what I want to say. Be kind to people. Rise, intellectually and even spiritually, whatever that means to you, rise above the people you meet. Look at them as damaged human beings, because most of us are. The guy who thinks he's got his shit together is among the most damaged individual on the planet. Because honesty would be his greatest ally. You see? The people that look okay are not okay. And sometimes they can come across like their shit doesn't stink. But rise above that. See them where they're at. And then just go, man, I can't stand here and talk to you because you're a total douche, but I do love you. I do love you. We do that. We rise above the moment. So, Chantal, anything?
Just regarding group tea time tomorrow at 2 p.m. We're going to be doing a revision of, or a retelling, I guess, of all of the questions that have cropped up this week in the Facebook group, just to give everybody some answers. I've got something written out about all of the appeal forms and what those are, because the 30th is coming up fast, and I know that I've got about 7 people on the docket already that need help filling out the forms. So we're going to get this done, hopefully by the end of the month. And that was the other thing. I ended up getting an email earlier today from the appeals secretariat
Okay.
that I had to respond to and correct. So I don't know if we want to leave that to Monday or if
Why don't you?
anybody's curious as to what these.
No, you open the can. We're gonna have to spill it. Yep. Yep.
All right, so I had a email come in this afternoon at 3:27 saying thank you for contacting the appeals secretariat. You cannot appeal your placement on the ADAP program. However, you can apply for the ACE program starting in July. Starting in July, there will be one application for both ACE and ADAP. Well, we already know that. Available on alberta.ca. Okay. If you are applying for an ACE assessment, you will be required to fill out this application, including the disability medical report. The government of Alberta will cover the cost of one medical assessment if you transition to ADAP and choose to apply to ACE. There is no deadline to use this support, and it will be covered whenever you choose to apply. So that's good news for everybody. Clients transitioning to ADAP will automatically receive a monthly transition benefit of $200 that will keep their financial benefit the same as their existing ACE benefit amount until December 31st, 2027.
Bullshit.
Which is
Bullshit.
fine.
Bullshit. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So your ACE caseworker can help answer questions about your file and what the transition means for you. As far as I know, we don't have individual caseworkers anymore. We have a fucking call center.
Yeah. No, we don't. We don't. And I know that by the call that I put into Ace today. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So my response, because you know I had to go there, and I sent this individual the what is it called, the ministerial order for the province of Alberta Assured Income for the Severely Handicapped Act and Assured Income for the Severely Handicapped General Regulation, the 96/2026, in force as of July 2nd. Okay, and then I sent Bill 12. Like the actual file from the government, because I pulled it right off the alberta.ca website.
Good. Good.
So dear appeals secretariat, thank you for your response. I'm writing to correct the basis on which it was given and to ask that my appeal be handled under the law as it stands today.
So can I stop you just for a sec? Because I want to be sure myself. I don't know, maybe the whole chat has this right, but for me, is this appeal secretariat in regard to the thing you filed under ACE rejecting your move to ADAP?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the appeal that we sent.
Yep.
That everybody's been filling out saying, I don't want to move to ADAP. You're right. Look at my file, make the actual determination based on what's within that folder.
Okay.
Right. So, and they're saying, no, you can't. And I'm saying, you absolutely can. So let's continue, because I am like maximum gremlin energy about this.
Yeah.
So I am a current recipient of the Assured Income for the Severely Handicapped, right? As of today's date, I remain an ACE recipient under the Assured Income for the Severely Handicapped Act. As it presently reads, the amendments made by the Financial Statutes Amendment Act 2025, number 2, including section 12.8, which removes the right to appeal the transition under section 12.6, together with the amended general regulation AR 2026, which I attached, do not come into force until July 2nd of this year. Until that date, the current act and the current appeal process govern decisions about my file. Your response states that I cannot appeal my placement on the Alberta Disability Assistance Program. That restriction does not yet exist in law. Your provision relied, or the provision relied on, is not in force and will not be until July 2nd, 2026. As of today, there is no in-force provision that removes my right as a current ACE recipient to appeal a decision made about my benefits that I do not agree with. The government of Alberta's own ACE information states that a recipient who disagrees with a decision ACE makes about their benefits can file an appeal. So for greater clarity, even once section 12.8 comes into force, It removes the right to, or the right of appeal only with respect to the section 12.6 transition itself. It does not remove the right to appeal subsequent decisions about eligibility or benefit amounts, which remain appealable under section 10.1 for any decision not exempt from appeal under the regulations. So I am therefore asking the Secretariat to confirm in writing, they're going to run for the hills. Number one, that my right of appeal under the current H Act remains in effect until Bill 12 provisions are proclaimed in force on July 2nd of this year.
I love it. I love it. That's the first thing they have to do. Yeah.
Number two,
Love it.
that my appeal filed while I am a current H recipient and before those provisions are in force will be processed under the current rules. Right? Number three, if the Secretariat maintains that any decisions on my file is not appealable, the exact statutory or regulatory provision currently in force that it relies on, given that section 12.8 does not come into force until July 2nd, 2026. So you better tell me where this is coming from, because according to what I can pull, it don't exist. So I would appreciate a written response identifying these specific provisions so that the record is clear. And you all best believe that I am going to turn this into a template that everybody can use. With a shovel to the face.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is how you hit them. This is how you hit your government. Like Chantal just said, with a shovel to the face, colloquially speaking, that is. Yeah, we need a sound effect for that. What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is a real opportunity. So, should you, accept the mission?
The task before you.
Yes, yes. And this recording will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
We could try the Jedi trick, you were
We
not
could
going
do
to
that.
take the government shit anymore.
Right. These are not the drones you're looking for. Exactly. So let me be really serious about this for a moment, because this is pretty serious in a good way, in a really good way. So now what we have is on record somebody trying to deny the fact that at least their reply is that they will not uphold the law, because the law states that they have to treat the appeal under H because it has come in from an H recipient, not an ADAP recipient. So because Chantal and anyone who filed this is an H recipient, they have to handle this in proper manner under H doctrine, not ADAP doctrine. So what this individual is trying to do is push it off onto ADAP, okay? And this is what a court would see. This is what a judge would see. He'd say, well, you can't do that. The client is correct. She is still under H, and you need to handle that. You would need to have handled that appeal as if it were under H, because it is under H. You can't push people to ADAP, to something that is not legally binding yet. You have to work under the law. And the law is H, not ADAP. So, like Chantal said, she's going to now create a template that gives you the ability to shoot right back at these people and say, sorry, buddy, that doesn't wash. Because legally, we are under the H umbrella, and therefore everything is adjudicated up until July 2nd under that. So now this is a recapitulation of the same document with an insincere initial reply. And that's huge. Because
absolutely, Nicole. I'll be making sure that that's a template, and I'll be putting it on the page tonight.
Yeah. And so anyone who set that in needs to respond to it. If you send in the initial document, you need to respond when you get this letter back. And so everybody do that, man. Everybody do that. because now this is pressure. This is where we need 200 people watching this show at one time. You see, because we need numbers right now. We don't need fame and fortune and everything that goes with it. None of that. I've got that, done it, got the t-shirt. I want people to kick the government in their proverbial balls. That's what I want. And, you know, I can wind up and kick once, but 200 people kicking at the same time, you're going to have to go see the doctor. Now, you know what I'm all saying. But we need those kind of numbers. Because if we hit the government that hard, they will have to capitulate. It will then and therefore become too undeniable. Right?
Exactly.
Right.
See, and people have been asking me, well, how did you know to look into the legislation? How did you know to look and dig deeper? Because number one, I've never believed anything anybody's ever told me, especially if they're in a higher wage bracket than I am. So that's a lot of people I don't trust, right? So in our letters, because I have mine right here, it says in the third sentence of the entire letter, the transition to ADAP is automatic. Red flag, right? And no action is required from you at this time. Red flag. They automatically in the first 3 fucking sentences of this bullshit letter, don't do anything. Let it happen. Let it happen.
Right.
Don't worry about it.
Right.
Right. I'm sorry, but if you're going to tell me not to worry, I'm looking for the spider on my shoulder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm digging into it. And that's when I found the legislation, and I found Bill 12, and I found all of this stuff, and I dug into it. And yeah, no, what they're doing is illegal. And we have every right to say, no, absolutely not. Look at my file again.
Right. Right.
And the appeals secretariat is supposed to be separate and impartial, right? They're supposed to be, but this government has its fingers in everything right now because they're trying to crush us under their boots, right? And regardless of how long it takes for them to respond to our appeals, it's having it filed. The more of us that file the appeal and we stand our ground and say, absolutely not, we were never consulted, we were never asked, our input was never requested, there was no reassessment as to our work capability, nothing. The more of us that are on the record fighting against this, the worse they look, because they are actively breaking the law. So this is all documentation. Oh, beautiful, wonderful documentation. Because we can harness all of this. Every letter that comes back or every email that comes back saying, nope, you can't do nothing about it. The receipt of that communication is fucking gold right now. Because the government is breaking its own laws and its own rules that are in place to protect us.
Yep.
And that's what they're not expecting, is for us to fight back.
Right. And they don't have.
That's what I'm trying to make sure that we do.
Right. And they don't have every judge in their pocket. There are judges in Alberta that will take this case and they will be fair and impartial. They may be few and far between, but that's why you get the right lawyer or the right judge. And you have every right to the right judge. This I know. Ronald Reagan, as much as, he was a despicable human being, he did say one thing that still stands true. And that is that the 10 worst words in the world are, hello, I'm from your government and I'm here to help. So,
Sam, I'm an anomaly when it comes to, keeping paper trails and documents. Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So you're absolutely right. When the government says don't worry, it's time to worry. That's the moment you worry. And when the government,
don't look at anything. Don't look at anything as I'm, sleight of hand. That don't work on me.
Right. And it stopped working on me when I started to realize what government really was. So that's invaluable news, ladies and gentlemen. That's really something to know, something to grow on, and something to do. We all need to do that. Everybody in the chat, everybody who watches this podcast after, needs to do that. And if you don't know what that is, you still have time. Today is the what of June? 19th?
19th.
Right. So you still have 11 days 31 days in June?
I think we're at 30 because we don't count the, 30 days in June. Yeah.
30 days has September, April, June.
So
Okay.
we have seven working days to get these filed in, not including the weekends.
So the weekend doesn't
So
count?
11 days.
11?
Well-
11. Okay.
It wouldn't count for what they're seeing on the government end. So if we fill their inboxes with appeals.
Yeah.
Right, and we keep every receipt, whether it's a no, whether it's a PFO, whether it's a whatever, and we respond that they are breaking the law. We've got our evidence,
Right.
and that's where it starts. That's why them saying a no, it's like, you know what? That's fine. Here's your shovel.
Yeah.
Dig.
Oh yeah, it would
It's not a loss for us.
it would be
It's a
my
gain.
right. It would be my greatest pleasure to watch everybody in well, at least in this cohort, lose their jobs all at once. I couldn't wait, because the only way back from ignorance is suffering, and so you want to bring it on. Let's bring it on. That's what Sam just alluded to herself. Let's go to the chat just real quick. Are you done with that, Chantal?
Yeah. Well.
Yep. Go ahead.
I am currently working on a plain language breakdown of the Bill 12, so the statutes that would reflect on us, so ones that would empower us to move forward. I'm breaking that down so that everybody can understand what is written out in the law, in that legalese bureaucratic longhand. Okay. I'm also breaking down the ministerial order that came out regarding the AISH and ADAP programs that were put into circulation there. When the heck was it? I think it was May 12th. The same time that our letters were dated, the same time that the discussion guide for ADAP was released. So we're not out of time. But I'm gonna have that. I'm gonna have that all ready for the group, for the app, and for us on the ground on the 1st.
Good. Just another reason to be there and not be square, July 1st. Yeah, I mean, we care, ladies and gentlemen. We really do care. And by we, I mean she. And by she, I mean me. We want the best outcome in this case. It is one of the biggest things, if not the biggest thing, arguably, in our moment as a province, politically and sociologically. This is where, even Christ said it, and as much as I don't quote him these days, he said, a society by the way they treat the people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we can pretty much know what our society is by what it's doing to us. And so are you good?
Yep,
Okay.
absolutely. I'm golden. I'm so excited about them saying no. I don't know. I have quite too much fun with this.
No, it is.
And I wish that people could have the amount of excitement and joy that I have when the government fucks up.
Yeah. Oops. Well, yeah, I would assume they do. It's just, once again, it's motivation, but I believe that the chat is going to do the chat things, and look, the things that are good for them. You know what I mean? They're not doing chat things. That was a stupid statement. They're going to do what is good for them. And we have like the best chat in the world. We really do.
So I was doing my happy dance today when that email came in. It was like, oh yeah, I gotcha. You said no.
Oh no, that is a gotcha, because once again, they're not, they're not anticipating that we're going to be smart at all.
Mhm.
That's what I love
Or
about
sharing
it.
material or breaking it down, or, we're collectivizing, Gavin. We are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, yeah. They don't expect this class of individuals to be analytical, right? To be careful, to actually care about their own lives. And they got us wrong,
Mhm.
ladies and gentlemen. That's where they've got us wrong. Right? Because whether or not we need to breathe from an oxygen tank, or we need crutches or a wheelchair or whatever, we still got our fucking brain. And I've only noticed since I've really reached out, and really started to understand this cohort of 80,000 people, just how intelligent, how intellectual, how smart, how gravitating a force we all are. And so when are we going to believe that? And when are we going to move on that? When are we going to act on that? The time is now. And I know, like I said, we got the best chat in the world. I don't think there's another podcast alive that has this kind of astute, amazing chat. I just don't know of any. So are you good?
Mhm. Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Sam Brown gives us a clap, and not the clap, but a clap. And and Sam says, yeah, one of these. Sam, stupid robot is stuck on repeat. Hey, yeah, repeat. Hey, ISBT, the appeals secretariat. Sam is saying, supposed to be separate and impartial. Bizarre, they would get away with word for word repeating the government. Good job, Chantal.
Mhm.
Right there, I'm right with Sam on that. Ivy, by the time they answer, it will be July 1st filed, June 3rd. Uh, yeah, but it doesn't matter. I mean, if I get what you're saying correct, Ivy, as long as you get that appeal in, you have recourse. And if the government finds out that the government, or a judge finds out that the government has lied, uh, in legal terms, that could be a windfall for us. So, nothing, it seems, is going to stop July 1st or July 2nd. Nothing seems to be, there's no bulldozer in the way of that. But that doesn't matter, because what this does is it gives us absolute legal recourse. And it's not the only legal recourse. And there will be other, people coming out with lawyers attached to this case that are going to be, speaking on behalf of what legalities are being broken here. And I'll tell you what, if they can't get away with separation because of the indigenous, they're not going to fucking get away with this because of us. All right? That's the power we have. We're big, man. We're strong. And we're here for you, and you're here for us. Has to be that way. And it seems like the indigenous did the same thing and got a decent result. So, Nicole, we all need the response you have sent them. Yeah. Ivy, agreed, Nicole. Nicole, you are building a strong case, Chantal. Nicole, thank you, Chantal. Sam, no shit. The emphasis on the words is essential. No action is required. They're counting on the fact most of us can't keep paperwork as good as Chantal. Well, yeah. I don't think they betted on Chantal. They betted on,
Most people don't.
right. Well, they bet on 79,999 of us, but they left out one. And I'm kidding. Of course, we all have our strengths. This is what we don't realize. Of course, Chantal, amazing work. Nobody would ever take that away from her. And maybe she even deserves a nice chandelier in her house for it. But we all have our strengths, and we are all being prodded by nature itself to participate in some grand way, in the way we can. But it is some way, and it must be action. Sam, haha, I do. I don't know. I don't know what you do. Do you know what that means?
I think that was when I was talking about how I'm an anomaly and nobody really understands how much I document. And she goes, haha, I do. That's because she's everywhere.
Okay,
She's in the
okay.
group. She knows about the app.
right? Sorry, I'm going between
She's
chat.
doing the work.
I'm going between chat and my camera, and they're not connected. So Nicole says thank you both. Nicole, thank you, and Sam, thank you, and Ivy, thank you, and Pam, thank you. We thank y'all because we love y'all, and our hearts go out to y'all, and you're right with us because you determined to be an advocate for yourself first. And the fact that we are all together now advocating for each other is a beautiful thing. And now if we could get just 79,992 other people to do it, we'd be in really good company. But we're trying. We're moving forward. We're talking to Can Man Dan. We're talking to really good people, to people that aren't party affiliated. Right, that are not party affiliated, to see what we can do, to see how we can collectivize, and at this, you know, we are attempting something good, I believe. So, love to you all. We'll see you on Monday, and I'll hold in reserve the rest of the podcast that I was doing today for Monday.
And then tea time tomorrow at 2 p.m. on the group Facebook Live.
Tea time tomorrow too. I might actually jump on myself and have tea with the ladies. I think, that would be good for me to, put down the Pepsi and pick up a tea. And I might just do that.
People can bring whatever they want to drink. It's all good. We had a gentleman join us last weekend who was like, "Can I drink non-alcoholic beer?" I was like, "Whatever you want to drink. It's all good."
Yeah,
I'm not prejudiced against beverages.
No. I have nothing against
what you
beverages. Right. I have nothing against beverages, just like I have nothing against people. And to that extent, we love y'all. And I will stop saying that before I get redundant. So have a good weekend. Maybe see you tomorrow at 2, ladies and gentlemen. And, be well, be safe, and most of all, courage!